This is That Talking Podcast. I'm JJ Starr.
And I'm Downtown Andy, getting licked by a dog.
Getting licked by a dog, all right. She does love to do that every
She's
time. She's
starting off strong.
Oh, yeah.
This week, getting it in there.
Well, welcome. We are here to talk. We are here to bring some civil discourse to an otherwise discordant world. And how are you, Andy?
Oh, slobbered.
Yeah, you're moist.
Yeah, don't say that again.
Moist. Damp even. Moist like a cake.
Damp isn't the same. You have to say moist. And what was the other one that people can't hear? Cunt. Yeah, cunt.
Well, we here at That Talking Podcast live by three simple rules. One is not that we don't say cunt, obviously. Three simple rules. No judgment, nothing personal, and do not be a dick.
Nope.
No dicks.
Well... there's one in this room now.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Not her.
No, she's not a dick.
No.
She's a bitch.
Yeah, that's true. Listen, I never...
Yeah, don't give me that.
I was never comfortable with being licked, and I can't say no to that face.
She loves to give kisses. She loves to give kisses. Mm. But at least your face is furry, so she won't lick your face.
In podcast land, go get a dog.
Get a dog.
Get yourself a dog.
Adopt, don't shop.
Right. Isn't shopping though kind of a form of adopting? I mean, you are taking an animal home into your home. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I understand the reasoning behind adopt, don't shop, but at the same time, I mean, if you want a dog, you want a dog. Like,
yeah, you know.
But I've grown to be fond of many different types and breeds now, so that like I want one of everything. So I don't care where it's coming from. I want a pit bull.
Oh no, I want a German Shepherd. I will come up your driveway and steal your dog. I will pass a dog on the street and I will bring it home. Yeah. So, okay, I want to talk about something.
Okay.
You have mentioned that we say that we are bringing civil discourse to an otherwise discordant world, and that we are, but we have not actually talked about discord.
Just a quick disclaimer. I want to say this. All of our best conversations don't make it to air. I know it's kind of ridiculous to say, like, oh, we should be recording at all times. And in actuality, we really should, because we don't have anything recording us when we're having our deepest, most thought-provoking conversations.
Yes, that is true. But it's hard.
I know.
It's hard to be like, wait!
Yeah.
Let me start recording. But here we are.
Yeah.
And we're going to talk.
Yep.
So I am of the opinion that the reason why people are so debatey, I don't even know what the word is. Just discordant. The reason why there is dissident. Yeah. Disagreeable.
Sure.
Mean to each other.
Leave one in the comments for us, guys. I've been waiting to say that for a long time.
If you know the word we're looking for, please let us know.
Yeah. But write us at JJ and Andy P.O. Box.
But I truly believe that the reason why people are so nasty when it comes to talking about, especially about hot button issues, and of which there are an infinite number nowadays, because everything is offensive, everything is a soundbite, everything is an issue, because someone has to make it an issue. And the reason why we don't talk more civilly about the hot button issues and the important things, the things that are important to intelligent people, is that one of two reasons. One, what are you going to laugh?
You said intelligent people.
Intelligent people.
I feel like those are diminishing by the day.
Absolutely. But then again, there's also, we can discuss at some point, the difference between being unintelligent and being ignorant, because they are two different
We'll
things.
get to it, but I'm sorry to have interrupted.
But, well, thank you. How civil of you.
You're pretty. It makes it okay.
But I believe that the reason why people are so disagreeable these days is because, and they get so defensive, is because they are actually pushed to a point that they don't want to be at. They are so uncomfortable with the idea of confrontation, and they're so uncomfortable with the idea of being confronted with having to voice a real opinion about something. And they are immediately going to go one of two ways. Either they're going to veer away, just retreat entirely. We do not talk about these things. It's like when people say, like, I won't talk about politics. I won't talk about religion. It's like, why the fuck not? Because, there's such hot topics and everything. It's like, yeah, those are the things that people should be talking about, and they should be talking about them in an adult, intelligent, informed, and polite way.
For our listeners, I just want to say that I've been bringing this up for quite some time.
Yeah.
And the fact that it hasn't made sense to me that we have these ground rules, and yet so far we have not discussed anything that we disagree on or that could get into a much more in-depth conversation about.
But now that you know us so well, now we're going to alienate everybody. We're going to go out on a limb and just alienate absolutely everybody. But yeah, I think that people either they avoid confrontational conversation entirely, or they want to stir the pot.
Listen, I used to get off on confrontation. I used to always...
You one of those people?
Well, I mean, I
you
always...
pot stir?
Not... I wouldn't say in the traditional sense, but I always wanted to prove my point, prove my worth, prove that I could hold my own. If I felt that I was being wronged or that I felt somebody else was in the wrong, I just had a natural inclination to speak up.
Yeah.
And, more often than not, my mouth got me into trouble and I had to dial it back. But I've kind of morphed into that kind of person that avoids confrontation at all costs. And as I told you the other day, it's not because I'm afraid to debate anyone. It's not because I'm avoiding the confrontation itself. It's because I'm afraid of what I'm going to do when pushed to a point. Because, as we all know, I have a terrible temper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have actually been on the other side of that two-headed coin. I have actually been told, apparently I make people angry by not veering away from confrontation. I am very firm in my egalitarianism.
For those who don't know, define that, please.
I believe in...
Meaning me.
I believe in true equality. I believe that every person is truly equal. All opinions matter.
High five. I like that.
All opinions matter.
No, we're okay,
and
Sadie.
that it is choice.
She heard us high five.
I know. She's like, no. But it is choice that molds character. But everyone starts out as just a ball of clay. Everyone is the same ball of clay. And I will see all sides of an argument. Now, I may have my opinions, and they may be completely unmoving, but I will not dump on someone else's opinion just because they differ from mine.
It took me years to get to that point. That was something I always wanted, but had to really work at in believing and actually, exercising on a regular basis, because I always felt that way, but saying and doing are two totally different things.
Yes.
And I didn't want anyone calling my bluff.
I have actually, in my experience, found that it makes people very angry. It makes people very angry. I have been told that I am... that your opinion doesn't count unless it takes a side.
I remember during COVID and the whole defund the police and BLM and all that stuff that was going on, I remember seeing somebody that we're not friends, but this person made a comment, ACAB, and I hadn't heard that acronym before, and it means all cops are bastards. Mm-hmm. And I took a personal offense to that because I have family that are, police officers. I go, how could you possibly say that? You don't know these people. It doesn't matter. It's a departmental thing. They're all trained to abuse their privilege and their powers.
What about
and stuff
canines?
Like that. Didn't matter to this person. And then I tried stating my position, and I'll never forget the words that came out of this person's mouth. I don't bite for that centrist shit.
The fuck does that mean?
I thought it was the most narrow-minded, terrible position you could possibly take.
I don't bite for that centrist shit.
Mm-hmm.
See, and this is the thing, is that we've seen this, especially, I'm going to say, since 2000. I'm going to say since 2000, but especially since Obama. Okay? We have seen the development of the extreme opinion.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not just political, but the extreme opinion. The defense and the offense. And you have to be one or the other. And I call shenanigans on that.
You know what really bothers me? When you tell me stories about people telling you that you do things wrong, like you do your opinions wrong, you do your vacations wrong, what you believe is wrong.
Yep.
And anytime you tell me those things, I think, who the hell are you talking to, number one? And two, how could anybody tell you that you're wrong for thinking what you think, feeling what you feel, believing what you believe? That's none of their fucking business.
I mean, it's the same thing. And I'm sure that, I mean, you're Catholic. You grew up Catholic. Yep. You went to Catholic school.
I did.
And I know for a fact that you have many a friend who is an atheist. And how many times... ballpark it for me. How many times in your 36 years now of life?
Is that how old I am?
You're 36, right?
I think so.
Okay. How many times would you say that your atheist friends have told you that God isn't real?
I mean, it's not something that comes up regularly, but
anytime, I'm sure.
I know my
Christmas, Easter, etc., because I'm aware.
I know my Jewish friends are going to have something to say about this podcast.
Well, I know one of them will. But that's just it, is that atheists want you to know that they believe that God does not exist. God is a construct. Who gives a fuck?
It's not.
Not about making, because that's why I won't take part in a lot of side-taking kind of debates, because I am not here to change someone's opinion.
I think it's actually very big that we were able to have conversations on things that we didn't understand and educate the other on just that.
Yeah.
Again, I grew up Catholic. I only went to 1 year of Catholic school, but always, raised in the church and all that stuff. Still go to church, believe it. I don't care what anybody thinks of, my religious practices. That's for me. Mm-hmm. Nobody's forcing me to go. Nobody's forcing me to force my kids to go.
And you're not forcing anybody else to go.
No. But, I mean, people could say all they want about their take on it, their belief system. I mean, it's not going to change. I'm not going to change at this point. I have my opinions on religion, and they don't necessarily line up with what the church teaches,
right?
But everyone's different. Everyone's entitled to their opinion. Mm-hmm. In case you guys listening didn't know, we're gonna talk about some things that aren't very
hold on to your butts,
popular.
We're gonna talk about our opinions.
Yeah.
What's an unpopular opinion that you have?
Politics.
No, like specifically, what is a belief that you hold that would get you in hot water if you said it out loud?
My conservative takes on everything. I, despite my appearance, despite my look, grew up a Christian Catholic. That's another thing we can get into, is the difference between the two, because everyone lumps them together and then they're not the same.
Well, it's the rectangle square situation.
But a Catholic, conservative, straight, cis, white male, who is fully tattooed, plays in punk rock bands. I'm a walking contradiction.
You're not a walking contradiction, because you don't judge a book by its cover.
No, but people judge my book all the time.
People judge my book too.
Mm-hmm. And because of that, because of where we live, it still baffles me that, I haven't moved somewhere where there are more people akin to having the same belief system as me. My entire life, I've befriended liberals, Democrats, non-Christians, all types of people that don't line up with my interests, my beliefs, my feelings, and I, maintain those friendships to this day because we share other things in common. Mm-hmm. A lot of guys I play in the bands that I'm in, that I've played music with over the years, their politics are vastly different from mine. Yes. We debate things from whatever's going on in the White House, to guns, to this and that and the other thing all the time, but it doesn't change the fact that we like playing music together.
Yeah, but you aren't out there trying to change people's opinion.
I never have, and I've never wanted to.
And how many people try and change yours?
All the time.
That's what I'm saying.
All the time. They try, as you've pointed, I'm sorry to interrupt, but as you've pointed out, there have, and I'm not naming names, but over the years, people have in fact goaded me into political debates because they think that I'm stupid for believing what I believe.
Yes.
They want to hear me. They want to catch me in
They want to catch you and school
tripping
you.
up in my
Yeah, they want to basically teach you that you're wrong.
The funny thing is that when a lot of them try and have those conversations with me, and they start spouting off things that they're unfamiliar with.
Yeah.
They just start spouting off the sound bites without doing the homework. They don't educate themselves properly on the topic. Like, it's no secret, my family owned a gun range for 8 years. Okay. We had to be up on all the laws, everything that was current. We had to, because, we had to do everything by the book in order to stay in business.
Yeah.
And people tried schooling me on gun laws. It's like, nice try. Nice try.
Well, that's just it, is that I think a lot of people want to believe that they know. That they know, and that they know enough that if you come at them with more information, or God forbid, contradictory information than what they have believed for so long, to find out that something is false after so long that you have truly thought you believed in and everything, it's completely upstarting. It will flip you head over heels.
That's a 7-letter word.
And it will flip you head over heels, and it will make you really uncomfortable. And I think that especially now that we have normalized such aggressive debate, we have in so doing made it completely fine to get as defensive as possible to the point of intentionally hurting people.
I said this to my dad yesterday. I go, I miss the days when I was completely oblivious to politics, because I remember the day when they entered my life. And if you're listening, you know where this is going. This one friend of mine, one of my oldest friends, called me up one day during one of the elections and said, "Who are you voting for?" And it was all downhill from there.
Yeah, because the only answer to that is none your fucking business. Click. I've said that to plenty of people. I'm not even kidding you.
I don't hang up on him anymore.
When I have been asked probably a handful of times in my life, who are you voting for, or who did you vote for? And I will tell my best friend to fuck right off. Because it is none of your goddamn business. You are my husband. And if you were to ask me who I voted for, I would look you dead in the eye and say, I love you. None of your fucking business. Because it's none of your fucking business.
Absolutely. Just like who I vote for is none of your business.
Now, I will tell you that politics enters into my thought process, I would say maybe 4% of the time. And Four. 1, 2, 3, 4.
And
that's it.
Nowadays, it enters my thought process 400% of the time.
I believe that we are gifted with a finite amount of brain storage. And I refuse to devote that space to things that are, first of all, ever-changing, completely fluid. And I'm not going to hold on to the things that have been it's like, that's all a part of history. And I will lump it in with my interest in history, but like current events, honestly. And I'm a sound ignorant, but I know close to nothing. Because not that I don't care, but I do not prioritize the knowledge thereof.
I envy you.
I just don't.
Listen, it wasn't until I actually started to see it in action, when I started to see how politics affected my daily life. Because again, I went years without ever giving it any thought, without acknowledging it, without, I stayed away from all of that stuff because it didn't affect me. It didn't matter to me. I was just oblivious to all of the things going on in the world, and particularly oblivious to how the money that I'm paying into taxes was being used for things I couldn't possibly care less about. But now I do care because I notice when it's being used for things that I don't want it being used for. And something that a lot of people don't take that into account. They also don't take a lot of other things into account that they should really care about. Okay? I'm not going to sit here and try and get anybody interested in politics, but after beginning to work in a government agency and getting older, making more money, having a family, it's things that, I guess not everybody really starts to think about. But again, all this money gets taken out of your paycheck. I absolutely want to know where it's going. I would hope that everybody else would be, but it's something else that you and I have gotten into in other episodes or other conversations, where we're living in an age where people just, they're so incredibly lazy that they will not take the time to educate themselves, even at the cost of looking stupid.
What about the allowance for the fact that it's not always laziness?
It's a large part of it, though. I mean, but what else could it be? You tell me.
It could be a lack of interest. It could be trust. It could be faith. It could be a lot of things. I know myself, okay, that there are certain things that I do not bother doing a deep dive on. Again, current events is one of them. Many, many current events. I don't want to say my paycheck, but I don't look at my pay stub every 2 weeks and question the money. I see my hours, I see my rate, I see my taxes, and I understand them. Now, if I ever look at that and I see something that doesn't make sense, of course I'm going to look into it. But I'm not sitting here doing the math, making sure that it all maths. Maybe some people would look at that and say ignorant. Some people might look at that and say lazy. I look at it and say, that's my paycheck. That's my paycheck. Ta-da!
And there's nothing wrong with that. Nobody should badger or bully you into, delving deeper into that if it's not within your interest to do so.
But it happens. It happens.
Does happen.
It happens with plenty of things.
Like, something that really gets on my nerves is when people use words that they don't know what they mean, or they claim that they do, or they're so sure that that's the right answer, that that's what it means, and they use them anyway. Same thing with everything else. They spout what they believe to be a fact or something that's true, and they just really don't know because they haven't taken the time to educate themselves properly. Yes. They haven't gotten the correct information, and so they're going around actually spreading misinformation because they're uneducated.
The problem with that being is that when someone who does have that knowledge confronts them about it, they immediately feel attacked. They feel attacked, they feel threatened, and
we know from personal experience.
They believe that you are then being the aggressor for trying to correct them or to inform them, and it will all boil down to no one asked for your opinion. It's like, I'm sorry, this isn't a fucking opinion. I don't offer my opinion to people who are telling falsehoods.
See, now I have to stop myself every single time and think, is what I'm thinking of saying warranted? Should I say this? Should I not say this? Should I correct this person? Should I not? Should I just keep my mouth? Even if it's going to benefit them, because I have no idea how they're going to take it. I've said it a million times. I am not responsible for your perception of what I say or do. And either way, certain people still take that as a personal offense.
I understand why they do. I still think it's bullshit, though. I still think it's bullshit because you cannot control anything, period. You cannot control other people, and
Took me a long time to get that.
You just can't do it, period. Okay? And not enough people understand that, and I think that that's why debate gets so heated. You and I have had plenty of angry conversations about hot topics. Plenty. And we're still cool at the end of every single one.
Because we respect each other's right to have our opinions.
Now, granted, our opinions don't change.
Nope.
And they do piss each other off. But we're not here to change each other's opinions.
Do you want to give an example, not to get into another heated discussion, but something, just give our listeners an example of something we disagree on?
A part of me doesn't... Everything that's coming to mind is like a political topic.
Well, put it out there.
Do we...
Go for it, anything.
You said the other day, that you believe that illegal immigration should be the priority.
It should be a priority.
How high up on the priority list do you think?
Top three.
Top three.
Absolutely.
3. I absolutely disagree with that.
All right. And we don't need to get into it any further than that because it'll take an hour. But we may come back to that in another episode.
I'm sure.
But here's the thing. You've asked me so many times, and this has stuck with me. Doesn't it get exhausting? Those are the words you've used. Doesn't it get exhausting? Because, I listen to a lot of political podcasts all day long while I'm in the truck because I like staying informed. And trust me, there are days where I can't stand the sound of those people's voices after so much time listening to them.
That's what listening to that much Ben Shapiro will do to you.
It's not even just him, okay? I listen to him because, at least for the most part, I'd say a good 85%, he really just, states what's going on in the world and doesn't editorialize. There are other people who do it way better than he does. There are people who do it way worse than he does. But after so much of that, and especially when it's all negative things, I need a break. I need something else. But I always end up reverting back to it because, again, and it's not like, and this is going to come as a shock to some people, but it's not like I'm just sitting there listening to conservative podcasts. I actually did start listening to much more leftist, liberal, whatever podcast to see the other side of the spectrum. There's those videos going around on TikTok and Instagram of that guy who explains... he's a professor at a university who talks about an employer is going to pay you $20 or why he's going to pay you $20. And I can't remember his whole spiel.
Yeah.
His name is Dr. Richard Wolff, and he's a huge Marxist. Now, I don't think I'd ever done any real research on Karl Marx or any. I'm sure I learned very minimal about it in college, but, he did a whole episode on it. And I'm like, all right, let me see what the other side of the spectrum looks like. Okay, let me see why Karl Marx was critical of capitalism and why they think it's such a bad thing. And I learned a lot of things that I didn't know before. I don't necessarily agree with everything this professor says, but now I see what the other side of the aisle is believing in and why they believe in it. And I'm open to hearing, just like you said, you believe that everybody should be equal and whatnot. I believe the same thing, but I also believe it's important for everybody to look at all sides, okay? You have your staunch Republicans, you have your staunch Democrats, and then you have your moderates, which really don't ever seem to get nearly as much airtime, if you will, as everyone else.
Because you can't sensationalize the middle.
And that's another thing that we've talked about is the sensationalization of the media. And I think that's probably what's largely contributed to the extremism on both sides. And that's why we can't ever have honest civil discourse.
Do you think it's possible? Do you think it's possible?
Absolutely. It is a conscious choice that every individual has to make. If you or I make the conscious choice to have a civil discourse, we'll have one. If somebody just wants to scream and yell at you their opinions and their beliefs just because they can, that's their conscious choice to be belligerent.
How receptive do you consider yourself when it comes to being wrong?
It's gotten easier as I've gotten older. I know that I'm not always right, and I can admit that. I can admit when I'm wrong. It's not easy. I don't want to do it, but I have to look in the mirror and I have to come to the realization that, I make mistakes just like everybody does, but it really pisses me off when I look at somebody who absolutely refuses to own their mistakes.
I think that I am the type of person who easily accepts mistakes. What I have no respect for are the people who want to school me. It's unnecessary. If I make a mistake or if I have false facts or bad info or something like that, if my recon for something is bullshit, I welcome people offering up the idea that I might be thinking about something incorrectly. But for someone to come at me and say, you're wrong, And let me tell you why. My receptors are completely down for that.
See, I've always welcomed criticism. I have always welcomed constructive criticism, being corrected, being told that I'm wrong, and then given the right information, especially if because I don't want to be wrong. If I'm speaking misinformation and I need to be correct, I want to be corrected. Why am I going to want to go around with the wrong idea? So I welcome that, but the problem is that not everybody is that receptive to it.
And not everybody understands the difference between an opinion and something that is not an opinion. And the fact that a fucking opinion cannot be wrong.
Right.
An opinion cannot be wrong. It can be disagreeable, but it cannot be wrong. Now, we've had that conversation many, many times. And you and I both know that we have opinions that plenty of people have tried to tell us are wrong.
Yeah.
Like you believe in the wrong thing.
Like my opinion that, hey, my grandparents came here legally. Why can't everybody else?
There are legal channels to go through. I've always said there's nothing wrong with immigration. There's a problem with illegal immigration. Mm-hmm. And we've talked about what we believe is the problem, what it is causing, what has caused it, etc., etc. But they're still just opinions.
And that is precisely why I bring this up, is because it has now entered our own lives in the sense that, look at why our insurance bills have gone up and up and up every month for, as long as we can remember. And the answer the insurance agent gave me was, oh, we're paying out more in accidents.
Yeah.
Accidents that we're taking no part in, and telling me that people are out there driving without insurance more so now than ever before.
And apparently we get to pay. We have the privilege of paying for it.
Exactly. Like when I got into that accident when I was driving the kids home that one night, and the deer bounced off the other guy's car into my car.
Yeah.
And the cops I hand him my insurance information, like, you're supposed to. And then he goes to get it from the other guy, and the other guy doesn't have it.
Yeah.
See, and this was a lengthy conversation you and I had recently. There's a right way and a wrong way to do everything, and I've always believed in doing the right thing. Always. Period. There's no...
But at the same time, I would disagree with you.
Why?
I don't believe that there is a right way and a wrong way to do anything. I just believe that there are different ways to do things.
There are different ways. Yes, you are right. But when it comes to the black and white issues, because there are in fact black and white issues, I know there's a lot of gray and a lot of hot button political things, but at the same time, there's certain things that you just don't do.
Yeah, like
certain things
for example,
you just don't say.
It's illegal to drive without insurance.
Exactly.
You can't do that.
But some people do.
And those people deserve the consequences. Mm-hmm. It's the same thing, like driving without your seatbelt. Mm-hmm. If you get caught, guess what? You get a ticket. Click it or ticket, my friend. That's what they say. And that's just it.
Look, we've disagreed twice already.
Everyone says that there are things that you just can't do. They believe that there are things that you can't do, that you don't do. And it's a fucking fallacy, because the fact of the matter is you can do whatever the fuck you want.
You just have to face the consequences.
You just have to face the consequences. You can do and say whatever you want. This whole idea that we're going to cancel just about anybody and anything that offends little baby sensibilities out there. Sorry to people out there with little baby sensibilities, but the fact of the matter is that you can't silence everyone just because they bother you.
And that is precisely why I have avoided as much confrontation at as much cost as I possibly can, because there are consequences that I just don't want to have to fucking deal with. And the most prime example of all is my decision to exercise my Second Amendment right and carry a firearm when I am not at work and leave this house. We were taught at the very beginning, when you go to get your license, that is the last thing that you ever want to have to do. Mm-hmm. People tell me all the time, you shouldn't have the authority. You shouldn't have the right to take someone's life. I go, do you honestly think I want to have to? Do you honestly think that I just leave the house, strap a gun to my belt, and think, oh, I can't wait to shoot somebody today? Do not use that as a soundbite, any of you. I've been saying this for the last 15 years since I got my license. I hope I get to the end of my life without ever having to use it.
everyone who disagrees with the right to carry a firearm, everyone who disagrees with that does so because they have something, and I'm making a broad generalization, but they have something in the back of their mind saying that anyone carrying a gun is going to use it.
Not true.
And it's not true. And the fact of the matter is that they believe that, you know, the guns are the problem. It's not the people carrying. It's the laws and everything. It is absolutely the mindset. And the fact of the matter is that you are extremely responsible, both in the house and outside of the house. You abide by every law.
And living proof.
And absolutely.
Because I have gone 15 years now without ever having to draw my weapon.
It's beautiful.
And I hope I go another 15 and another 15 after that.
Amen.
And we've been able to have this conversation, and we've been able to disagree on things and agree on other things.
And we're still friends.
And we're still husband and wife. And we're still friends.
And we're still friends.
And the dog doesn't love us as much.
No, she left. She's like, I can't listen to this shit.
But I think this was an excellent talk.
Yeah.
This was a lot better than I could have anticipated.
Well, I think that, you know, it helps also because this opens a lot of windows, I think, to air out the dirty laundry. That was a tortured metaphor, but I ran with it. I ran that shit into the ground. That was awesome. I'm a fucking poet. Oh, man. Yeah. But yes, thank you out there in podcast land for listening to that talking podcast. Find us on social media, Instagram, DT Andy and JJ Star with 2 R's. We are on YouTube and TikTok. And thank you, Downtown Andy, for our theme song, The Geed.
And thank you, JJ, for the editing.
Woohoo! And thank you, Sadie, wherever you are.
For the slurp.
For the slurp and the kisses. And
just being you.
You want to watch The Notebook?
Don't put that in there. And thank you to our listeners for being our listeners. Go have some civil discourse. Go have some dinner.
Talk to each other.
But really important, go have dinner. And, you know, get off your phones. Get off the TV. Do things with people. You know? Get back to interacting with the people in your lives.
Yes. Yes.
Because you will find that you have way more in common than you don't.
You never know. You never know. So that's it. From the 3 of us here at That Talking Podcast, I'm JJ Star.
And I'm Downtown Andy.
And we'll talk to you later.